Hi guys, welcome to day 29 of the 30-day challenge. The second last day of this 30-day challenge. So we're looking to get everything wrapped up and kind of gone over today, and we're going to go through how to know how much to pay yourself. We're going to go go over again how to use the profit pots, and we're also going to show you how it all works out with the finished margin total. So once you've adjusted it over however many months you need to adjust it to, you can see how your targets work out. And then you can see what I've done in advance of this. I've already changed the percentages to match the ultimate targets that you're looking for. Okay. The reason I've done that is it requires a little bit of maths to do. So rather than sort of do it as we go, I sort of did it in advance so we can see what those targets want to look like. And we can, excuse me, that's got a bit confusing. Cool. So you can see what the target's supposed to look like without having to sort of faff around whilst we're doing it, and you can see that everything kind of adds up in a nice way, and it all kind of rounds out to 100%. So I've done that in advance, and we're going to go through how to make those adjustments again. We're going to go through how to pay yourself, like I said, and then we're going to go through how to make sure that the pricing calculator is working for you, and how to correct it if it's not. So as always, we're going to go through the 5 steps for the daily reconciliation to make sure all the pots add up as they should. Again, the adjusters margins have been put in place already, so you're going to see the totals based on the kind of final targets for this business. But let's go through that one last time, and we'll do the 5 steps. So step 1, as always, is put your income in. There's only 500 quid today. So today we're doing the 29th, which is obviously today's date, and we're going to do the income based on just that 500 quid. So you see step number 1, put the income in the income column. Step number 2 is divide all your materials pots into their, all your budget pots into their relevant sheets, and to make sure that all adds up as it should do. And again, what it's nice to have all these pots building up in the background without you really even noticing them. So when it comes to things like your VAT bill or your own personal tax bill or whatever it might be, you can see that actually that money's going to be there sort of almost immediately for you to take. So that's fantastic. And a bit of profits put in there this time round. Owner's pay, obviously you can see it's building up quite nicely. Get that all in where it needs to be. And then we're going to go through the tax, wages, and owner's pots. They are all equal. So when you've hit your targets, the idea is your tax, wages, and expenses pots are equal as kind of like your initial target. If your company can't work within those figures, then that's absolutely fine. And I know some companies operate with a sort of a larger wage bill or little to no expenses. So if you want to change those around, you can do. Just be careful whilst you're doing it. But in general, a good idea is to have those 3 pots equal the same amount. So we've distributed those accordingly. And then you can see here, step 3 is we need to withdraw. So get rid of that top one. Step 3 is to take away any outgoings from that pot. We see here we've got repairs, which is £114. And that is an expense. So we'll put that in the expense pot. £114. Back to the income sheet and get rid of that. So that's all done. And then step 3 is obviously move the money around in your account to make sure it reflects what it should do. And we can go through them one at a time to see what you can do with those individual amounts now that we've got them all in place. And then finally, the last step is just bookmark that. Remember to do this as well because it's super handy. If you ever, you miss a bit of time and you don't do it every single day, you know exactly where you've got up to and you know exactly what transactions to look out for. So I would highly recommend doing that. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle this in a nice red box because we love doing that, so we know what the important bits are. So get that circled so you don't forget that. Really, really important. And that's it. So that's the 5 steps for this day done. And now we're going to go over kind of what to do about actually sort of starting to pay yourself and withdraw the money that you want to withdraw. So really, the only thing that you kind of are able to draw from, I guess, is this owner's account here. So this account here and this balance here is effectively your money. So by doing it this way and using this method and putting it to one side as you go, you're effectively paying yourself out of every single piece of income that you get. So whatever your margin percentage is set at, you're out of all the income that comes into your business, you're paying yourself that amount. And what you're doing to make sure that that amount's there for you when it comes to payday is you're putting this into its own separate account ahead of time. So if you've opened up those bank accounts and you've got those 4 active accounts, and you have been distributing between them, effectively all you need to do to pay yourself is just this money here. You can just empty it out. So this has been put aside according to the margins that you've worked out for your own business. So actually, when it comes to payday, whatever's in that owner's account, you can pay yourself that much money. So it can be a little bit of a shift depending on how you've worked in the past. I know some people like to pay themselves a regular salary of a set amount. And I know others who just sort of dip in and dip out as they feel they can afford it or as they feel they've got the money, just based on a large cash balance, really. So once they feel like it's in there, they can withdraw it. And like I said, others like to do it regularly and the same amount. So what this does, that'll change it slightly. Kind of as a business owner, as an entrepreneur of sorts, it's a difficult one to go over. So I know some people like the stability of that regular amount coming in. The people who sort of take it as and when, you're likely not to have a problem with this. If you're just paying yourself as you feel like you can afford it because there's lots of cash in the business, then this is going to be a much better solution for you. You're going to be able to look at the amount in that pot and be like, right, that's mine. That's how much I can take based on my margins, based on how I've been pricing. This is my money. You're going to have no problem with that. But the guys, those of you that take that regular salary and take that regular amount, this might be a bit of a concept change for you. Kind of as a small business owner and operator, it makes more sense and it's more rewarding to tie your own earnings in with how your company's earning. So the money that's coming into your business should completely determine how much you get paid. So if you are paying yourself like a regular salary or regular amount, that's a good way to do it because I guess you know how much you need to make per month to pay yourself that amount, and you know how much is coming out. But actually doing it this way, you know the precise amount that you can pay yourself. If you have a good month, it's higher. If you have a bad month, it's lower. But that's all part and parcel of being an entrepreneur and running your own business and being that kind of small business owner. So I'd really, really recommend doing it this way. If you've had a good month, you'll really, really feel the benefits. And it's just a case of being, responsible with your personal finances, which is beyond the scope of this cash flow, I guess. But by putting it aside and setting it aside in advance, that money is always safe and it's always there. And if it is building up, you know that you can access that amount at all times because it's already set aside for you to take home for yourself. So I'd really, really recommend putting them aside, really, really sticking to these margins and pricing according to these margins, because at the end of the day, if we look at the price calculator, if you've submitted a price to a client, you already know how much is out of that is going to be set aside for you because you've budgeted for your materials, you've budgeted for your expenses, you've budgeted for everything, you've set the VAT amount aside, everything's done. And quite simply, if everything's done and you're paid in full, then that amount there is yours to keep. So there's no reason that you can't rely on these numbers. By having this in place and having reliable numbers in place, you know that the amount in this account is 100% yours. If you're pricing according to it and you're sticking to your budgets, very, very simply, that amount is yours. So I'd recommend, if you like paying yourself weekly or fortnightly or monthly, it really, really doesn't matter. But whenever you want to withdraw money from your company, just empty that pot out. And again, if you're sticking to this cash flow and you're sticking to this pricing process, that money is there and it's very, very safe for you to take. That's the whole point of putting this in place. You want to know how much you can pay yourself, how much is set aside for other purposes, and how much you need to leave in the business for other things such as materials, expenses, wages, all that sort of stuff. But doing it this way, as long as you're sticking to them and you're pricing accordingly, like I said, everything is handled for you. So if we look back to the pricing calculator, even down to the VAT, now we're at our targets, the VAT that's going to be owed on the project, which is this box here, and the VAT you're setting aside is is the exact right amount. So as long as you stick to all the rest of these budgets, everything else will slot into place very, very nicely. And before you know it, you've got a really healthy cash flow, you've got a really healthy business. And actually this amount here is completely yours to take home for yourself. So it might take a bit of getting used to for some people. I know it did me, but once you start implementing this in your business and you start sticking to it, and you take what you are effectively owed or that you deserve based on pricing accordingly and having good cash flow, once you get into the habit of emptying this pot out and seeing that actually it doesn't affect your cash flow at all because you've already effectively removed it out of the situation to set aside for when you need it, you're going to find there's a massive, massive benefit. You're going to find yourself with more money coming into your bank account. Obviously, you're going to find yourself slightly higher personal tax bills, but that's neither here nor there. But you're going to find yourself with regular income. You're going to find yourself with much healthier income than you thought you could take home with you. And you're going to have that habit of paying yourself actually what you've rightfully earned. So, like I said, I really recommend doing it this way. The profit account is the other one that you're going to have access to. And this is a quarterly bonus. So it's very nice to get into the habit of not only paying yourself regularly, but also awarding yourself performance-based bonuses. Because if you're getting that performance bonus in every quarter, it just, again, ties you in with how well your company is performing. If you get a nice quarterly bonus that might cover the bills for that month, again, it's just that nice bit of extra income for all your hard work and based on the performance of your company that you're going to feel in your pocket at the end of the day. So again, at the end of every quarter, we'd recommend that you take half of what's in the profit account and you award yourself that as a bonus. So that's a really good way to use the profit account. Like I said, every quarter, take out half of it, enjoy the profit bonus and spend it on something nice, spend it on something important, completely up to you. But I would recommend, again, awarding yourself based out on these profits. Okay, so that's really it. That's how the cash flow works. That's what your margins should look like when you're finished for your company. Again, remember, these percentages here are based on the margin that you make on your materials. So if your materials margin is higher, for example, you spend 50% of the job price on materials, all of these amounts and percentages here will look different. For example, if I just quickly change this to 50%, you'll see that all these numbers adjust as well. So it's completely dependent on your numbers and where your materials margin's at and where you want it to be at. More importantly, you can change that to be wherever you want it to be at, and then you need to adjust your targets accordingly. But that is how it works. And if you're pricing up according to your margins, everything should flow absolutely smoothly. So there's a little bit of a transition and there's a little bit of work to do in terms of adjusting your percentages and adjusting your margins, depending on where you want to be. And obviously you're going to find yourself with a little bit of a consistent kind of price increase, but that all comes as part of the territory. The more experience you've got, and the more jobs you do, the more money you're worth. So it's time to start kind of looking at your numbers, making them grow, and really feeling like your business is starting to work for you, because every job you do is added experience, and effectively your customers have got to pay for that experience. And if you're not making the adjustments to your prices to show the adjustments in your experience and the extra work that you've been doing, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you're probably leaving money on the table. So if you've only got a handful of jobs pictured and in your portfolio, then fair enough, your price is going to be one thing. But if you can imagine 2 years later, when you've got a catalogue of successful projects, you've got lots of reviews, and you've been doing the job for 2 years longer than you had before, and you've got those 2 years of added experience, then your prices should reflect that. So this helps you grow your business, grow your profits, grow your margins, and then also benefit from that as well. So once your company has started to grow, once your experience level started to grow, this helps you make sure that your pricing is growing in line with that, and your take-home pay is growing in line with that. So at the end of the day, if your business is growing in experience and growing in size and growing in the scope of projects it's doing, that you need to be growing from that. You need to be rewarding yourself based on that. And this is a really good way and a really good method of doing it, and doing it safely, and doing it in a way that doesn't hamper any cash flow. It doesn't get in the way of any other projects. It's a safe and consistent way to grow your business. So I'd really, really recommend taking a proper run at this, really trying to get it implemented within your business, And then again, as always, if you've got any questions about it, and if you are struggling with one thing or another thing, just let us know. Just send us an email, drop a comment in the videos. We monitor them all. We'll always reply to any comments, or just send us an email. My personal email is Kelsey. That's KELSEY at elevateprofit.co.uk. So that's all one word. That's Kelsey at elevateprofit.co.uk. Just get in touch if you are implementing this. Let me know. I'd be really excited to hear it, because it has worked for a number of our clients. It's worked for my own businesses, and it's made a massive difference when it comes to cash flow and comes to rewarding yourself for all the work that you're doing. So I'll be really interested to see if you're taking this up. So let me know. Any questions, as always, let me know. Then we'll be back again today. We'll be back again tomorrow, for the final day, day 30, just as a mini kind of celebration to say that it's all done. This system's up and running. And then what we're going to do is we'll go over everything kind of one more time, and then we'll wrap it all up. So hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Like I said, if you've got any questions or you are getting started with this process, just let me know. I'll be really excited to hear from people who are getting started. I'll be really interested to see kind of what you like and what you don't like. And any feedback's always appreciated. So hopefully hear from you soon. If not, we'll be back tomorrow to wrap everything up. All right, cheers, guys.